Welcome back, viewers, to LBS Responds To, episode number 87. So yes, welcome back everyone to another episode of the weekly Q&A series I do here on my channel. I've been doing this for over 3 years now, and pretty much I just take all of your guys' questions, whether it's LEGO related, Star Wars related, or pretty much anything, and I go ahead and answer them in videos like this. If your question is not answered in today's video, be sure to leave it down below for next week, and I will most likely get to it. So without further ado, guys, let's get into the first question. Starting off with Christopher Trapp, he says, I love your videos, thank you so much. He also says, I recently got back into collecting LEGO and have been regretting getting rid of them a few years back. Anyways, do you think that LEGO will ever remake a Darth Revan minifig? And for some reason, I'll be honest, a lot of you guys asked that question. If we actually go through that comment section, there was legitimately like 5 people that asked that same question about Darth Revan. So I'll give my quick response on it, and I truthfully do think we will never see Darth Revan ever again until he shows up in a canon source. You know, of course, back in 2014, it was a little bit more up in the air. Right when Disney was buying Lucasfilm, what is canon, what is not canon. The Old Republic was a little bit more relevant back then, as is, due to some of those Old Republic games that came out then with the cinematic trailers. But I think as it sits going into the future, so for the next 5 years or so, I really don't see Darth Revan ever being remade ever again until he comes up in a new form of media, at least. Whether it's canon or not, I guess, a new form of media would pretty much have to be somewhere out there, for Darth Revan to make another appearance in LEGO, at least in my opinion. Next up, we have the Ginger Brick Man. Basically, to sum up his question, he's basically asking about the old Rebel Trooper from the Imperial Tidarium set from 2015. Basically, how nowadays people are considering that a Rex minifigure, also Bricklink, categorizes as a Rex minifigure, and pretty much saying, will that affect the price? When did it happen? And kind of all about it now. So from everything I know about that character, again, I looked at it a little bit before this video to see just a little bit what's going on, and from what it looks like back in about 2020 or so. It might be a little bit earlier than that. Looks like they actually officially came out and said, hey, look, that character in Return of the Jedi is actually Captain Rex in older form, and for what it's worth, might be just using a made-up name, a secondary name, kind of just, hiding his true identity. But from everything I know, that was actually the case. They did kind of retcon that and make it actual, Captain Rex shown there. And, then at that point, again, I saw this a couple years ago. It's been around for at least a year or two on Bricklink, where, they actually did rebrand that minifigure as Captain Rex also. So, for what it's worth, if you're talking about kind of value that minifigure and kind of what will happen to it, I've been curious about it also over the past couple of years since I've seen that happen. And for what it's worth, I don't think too many people care. I think people will get that minifigure, we'll kind of see, hey, look, this is Captain Rex. It's cool to have, nothing too special, but I don't really think as is people care, and I think the price has pretty much stayed the same. So for what it's worth, I don't really think the minifigure is going to go up in value too much more. I got my copy from the set itself I got back in the day, and that's pretty much all I need, since in my opinion, I don't really see it going anywhere. Next up, we have LJ Games, and he pretty much just says, what sets do you think will fill in the missing gaps for next year's lineup? And I'm looking at the list right here. Sure, this was updated as of about 2 months ago, but and actually since then we've had even more rumors. So at the current point for Star Wars, at least for the first half of the year, there's really no missing spots. They don't have pretty heavy rumors. The only thing at this point that technically doesn't really have a heavy rumor or a at all kind of confirmed rumor from a reliable source would be the exclusive helmet, set number 75356 for $70. And look, in my opinion, we're getting Cody and Rex as the other helmets. I would assume LEGO's probably going to do a Return of the Jedi helmet for the other one. There's been a slight rumor going around. I'm not too sure if it's any, from a reliable source, but being a Endor Rebel Trooper helmet. Well, look, I'll be the first one to say, that is a very obscure helmet to do. I don't know anyone on the planet who could confidently say, hey, look, I want to spend $70 and display a Endor Rebel Trooper helmet on my shelf. But if that is the case, I can kind of see it. Really, there's nothing much else they can do for Return of the Jedi. They've already done the Scout Trooper, and I think ever since they did the Luke's X-Wing pilot helmet, I think it definitely opens up a door of LEGO doing some pretty crazy designs for these helmet sets. But other than that, though, at this current point, I'll put up the picture on the screen right now. There's really nothing else that's not heavily rumored for next year. But I would have to go with the Endor Rebel Trooper helmet being probably the last one for the helmet series, and that's about it. So next up, we have Luke Taylor. He says, what clones are most likely to be made that LEGO has never done before? So I think I've got a pretty easy answer to this, and probably the proper answer also being a 327th clone. So looking back at it, aside for, technically the Star Corps troopers back in, 2005, hey, look, those are technically 327th, I guess, if you really want to get, fundamentally proper with me. But I think, a proper 327th clone, whether it's even Commander Bly himself or just regular, 327th clone troopers in Phase 1 or Phase 2 armor, I would assume they would do Phase 2. I think it's time for them. I think, we've had updated, whether it's, 24 14 style or not, we've had updated Phase 2 Shock Troopers, Wolfpack Troopers, Kashyyyk Troopers. You know, we've even had Airborne Troopers. Now we've got the purple clones. I actually totally forgot the Legion right now. 91st clones. I think I'm totally wrong with that, but we got the purple clones now, and you know, stuff. You know, 332nd even. We got an updated 501st. So I think before anything, 327th would be pretty nice to have. I think, you know, Wolfpack, 327th, Shock Trooper are all minifigures and clone troopers that LEGO should be doing here pretty shortly. You know, again, there's plenty of clone legions out there, but in my opinion, I think 327th is definitely probably the top one needed right now. So next up, we have Joel Smolders. He pretty much just says, do you think the next Phase 2 Clone Legion to be released will have helmet holes or not? And I think that's a pretty clear answer. I really do strongly believe that they will have the helmet holes, as much as that kind of sucks. I think from here on out, you know, I think they're going to kind of change up the style, not do the original, you know, non-hole version anymore. I think they're going to keep it with the helmet holes just so, you know, we can have the antennas, the range finders, the visors, all kind of, you know, interchangeable like that. I don't think it's the right move. I really do think LEGO should spend the extra little time, make an extra mold, you know, only have the hold versions, you know, for say commanders, you know, make them on just an occasional clone trooper and keep every other clone trooper without them. But in my opinion, at this current point, I think it's pretty clear that they would not just do holes on the 212th troopers and the ATT just to have them there and you know, make them, you know, partially inaccurate just to never do them again. So there's also rumored we're going to have all 4 of the clone troopers in the 501st, you know, battle pack coming out in 2023 with the holes in it. So I think at this current point, sadly, every single clone trooper from here on out will have the holes in them. Next up, we have Alex Stokovac, and he says, do you think there's a chance in the future we get a UCS Anakin Interceptor? And the reason why I'm going to answer this question is because I'm 100% for that. I really do. You know, as much as I don't really think we'll ever get one, I think that's, you know, a far cry to ever get a set like that. Pretty niche, you know, of course, prequel orientated, you know, very, again, like I said, just niche vehicle where people, you know, probably quite frankly would not care to spend, say, $250 on it. I definitely would. I mean, UCS Anakin's Interceptor, if they ever made one of those, that would truthfully probably break my top 5 sets right away. That would be a brand new set, especially if they do it right. If they do it right, do it proper, you know, nice cockpit piece, you know, maybe a brand new beautiful Anakin minifigure, that would definitely crack my top 5 and I would be there day one. But I think that, you know, the actual percentage chance, I give it like a 11% chance maybe, I think. All right, next up, guys, we got Carson Thomas. He says, 2 questions. I have a Phase 2 Captain Rex. Should I hold on to it or sell it now, fearing that a new one might come out next year? You think the old one will still retain value? To answer that question really quickly, I would personally hold on to it, and quite frankly, you know, follow my channel, follow a couple of these other leak accounts, and pretty much whenever, if there is any sort of news at all, you know, confirmed news from a reliable source that a new Captain Rex is coming out, you know, at that point, sell your old Captain Rex if you want to. I think at this current point, though, you know, there's later questions in this video that will kind of be bringing up the same point. I think, in my honest opinion, selling something before you know for a fact you should, I think is probably not the proper way to do it. I think that can lead to a lot of regret and at the end of the day, probably not be worth it. Of course, you know, you might lose out on a little bit. You might run a little bit of a risk of not being able to sell it for the highest price, you know, if a rumor comes out, but we also kind of have to look at it in the regards of, you know, look, when a rumor comes out, when a leak comes out, you know, there are millions of Star Wars fans, you know, LEGO Star Wars fans, and only so many of those people are going to catch a leak on day one. You know, if you see a leak or a rumor of a Phase 2 Captain Rex coming out, you're still going to have, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of solid being able to get, you know, pretty much top dollar asking price and probably sell at that point. You know, and at least at that point, if you do end up selling it, there's really no room for regret there. But, you know, if you were to say sell it now and then they don't come out with the Phase 2 Captain Rex and they don't for another 10 years, at that point you're going to probably regret selling it for, say, $200 when it's going to be worth maybe $400 in 4 years from now. So I would hold on to it, man. Wait a little bit, you know, keep up with the leaks and rumors, and that's about that. Next up, he says, what are a few LEGO Star Wars minifigures that you think LEGO will never make again? Thanks, wanted to hear your thoughts. So yeah, quickly I'll say there's a whole different video coming out for that, actually next week. Stay tuned for that. I'm going to do, you know, a whole 10 of them that I think, but one I will say really quickly, but, you know, a pretty obvious one that I think all of us know by now, is I personally think Slave Leia will never, you know, be made ever again. I think in any form. I think she will never be included in another, you know, Jabba's palace or sail barge. I think we will never have that. We're gonna probably every single time we get a you know, a Leia minifigure based off that scene, it'll probably be the Bausch Bounty Hunter version. So there's my quick take on that. Stay tuned for that video next week, though. Next up, guys, we have AMK00. They ask LifeBricks. I started investing in Lego this year and don't plan on making much of a profit till next year. I plan on using Lego investing to fund my personal collection. I was wondering how much you would take of your profit on a set and set it aside for funding your personal collection and investing in more sets. So that's kind of a tough one in my opinion. It really is. It's tough for me to truly answer your scenario like that because again, everyone's scenario is different. My scenario is realistically just I make enough money selling Lego and off of YouTube and stuff where, again, my Lego investing myself has never really been a top priority to make money on. Of course, I am making money on it. I've sold a few things. I'm still pretty new to it. I'm only 3 years into it where I've not really had too much time to say, sell some stuff and make too much of an ROI yet. But, for what it's worth, I would really just kind of, look at how you feel you need to play that scenario because, but in my opinion, maybe in your scenario, take this advice and I would say maybe just keep on spiraling up your investment portfolio and, maybe wait another 2, 3, 4 years until you can finally start selling some stuff and, just keep on making that pool even bigger of money, especially if, the rest of your life is covered and, you're just kind of looking for extra money doing this because I think for what it's worth, I think we all know, I think every person investing in Lego right now is definitely a little bit tougher nowadays. Stuff will take a little bit longer to get that same ROI it would have, say, 5 years ago. So I think for what it's worth, probably just keep on reinvesting almost all of it. If you, of course, have to take out money elsewhere to like pay for your car payment, pay for rent or whatever, of course, do that first. But I would say just keep on worrying about getting your portfolio even bigger. So then when you say do go to sell stuff, say fourth quarter of like say 2026, you could come home with $5,000 instead of $500. So there's my quick thoughts. But again, kind of just evaluate your scenario fully. But there's my advice. So next up, we have Sun and Brick Productions. He says, ask LBS, what Clone Legion do you want to see LEGO remake the most? And in my opinion right now, as it sits, I think Phase 2 Wolfpack Clone Trooper. So I think a perfect set, kind of something I've actually been wanting a lot more recently, is, an actual, say, Republic gunship with, Phase 2 Commander Wolf and maybe 2 or 3 Phase 2 Wolfpack Troopers, a brand new, beautiful Plo Koon, and then maybe a couple of rocket battle droids. I think that could definitely be a really cool set LEGO does, or, kind of a nice vibe to it, with, the Clone Troopers, of course, having jetpacks, jetpack droids, and we've never seen a Phase 2 Wolf yet, so I think it'll be a great, chance for them to actually do that there. Come out with the new, Phase, 2 Wolfpack clones, a new Plo Koon, and overall, I think that'd be a pretty cool set and kind of fit the whole vibe of, flying battle, flying aerial battle and a nice flying ship. Change up the colorway a little bit on the gunship, and I think that's pretty much where I see LEGO doing it. And for what it's worth, I think Phase 2 Wolfpack clones is what I want to see remake the most. So next up, we have Blazed. They say, do you think I should buy the Rebels figures now, Zeb, Kanan, and Thrawn, or wait and see if they come out in a set with the new Ahsoka series? So my quick response to that is, in my opinion, look, I think in the grand scheme of things, you're better off probably, if you really want them that badly, if you're going to ask me a question, kind of think about it almost probably every day for yourself, if you kind of see those minifigures and are kind of like, look, I really do want those. It would be great if I had them. If you have the money for them right now, I would say just buy them. Again, if you're contemplating it, if you've got the $130 for a Thrawn, buy it now because, again, worst case scenario is, look, even if the Thrawn comes out, as early as next summer, $130 Thrawn minifigure at that point, it's not like it's going to go down to like $10. I think in a realistic scenario like that, if they make a new Thrawn, again, it kind of all comes down to what price point that new Thrawn is at. If the new Thrawn is in a $160 set, then I got to be honest, your $135 Thrawn will probably only go down to maybe $95. You'll maybe lose $30, $40. But, if Thrawn comes out in a new little $20 set, then of course, look, your older Thrawn will probably go down into the $70, $80 range. But again, I like to always, vouch for this. Every LEGO Star Wars minifigure that is unique will always hold a special premium to, the average LEGO Star Wars collector because there's always going to be people out there that want to get one of every single LEGO Star Wars minifigure. So as much as, again, your Thrawn will probably never be worth $130 again, it will definitely be worth not as little as you think. You get what I'm saying? And in my opinion, at that point, if you have the money now for it, you really should not be able to complain to yourself, say, in a year or two from now, if, say, they come out with a new one and your $130 minifigure is worth, say, $70. At that point, it's like, you were fine with paying the $130 to begin with, so like why are you going to kind of knock yourself over that a couple years after the fact? So I would just say buy it now, man, and just because again there's obviously a chance. I mean, everything's 50-50. They could never make another Zeb. They could never make another Thrawn. Like they could literally make the next Thrawn minifigure in 2049. You get what I'm saying? Like we'll never know that. These are very kind of tough questions to truthfully answer, but that's my advice. I'll be honest. If you have the money for it, just go ahead and do it now. And there's really no reason to hate yourself, later for it. So there's that. All right, so next up, guys, we got Kake Rajalan, I believe. Sorry if I'm saying that, but they say, hi from Finland. Can I ask, are you doing these videos for a living or is it only a hobby? Great videos. Thank you so much for the compliment there. Answer that question pretty quickly here, as no, making these YouTube videos is not my full-time gig. As of the past 2 months, though, it's definitely been a lot closer to being a possibility, and I want to thank you guys so much for that. My income on my YouTube channel for the past 2 months has been 4x the highest my channel has ever been at any point, which is back in December of 2017. So yeah, if that tells you anything, again, the channel's doing great right now. I thank you guys so much for that, and it's becoming a reality. Basically, at this point, where it sits right now, we would have to about 3x where we're at even right now to say be able to make it a full-time thing, like only doing YouTube videos. But overall, though, Lego is my career because, whether it's the YouTube channel, the Bricklink store, the eBay store, or just other kind of affiliate code sales or marketing. I've got codes with a bunch of companies. The most important one being, say, Republic Bricks. I've got a code for them, where I get a percentage of money every single time that code is being used. So throughout the years, though, basically all that stuff accumulated. Lego is my career right now. I don't have say a regular 9 to 5. I make a decent living doing this. I really do, and especially for being able to make my own hours, pretty much, use my common knowledge of Lego, kind of as my career. I'm not perfect, but I greatly appreciate the people that listen to my advice, listen to my opinions, like to watch my videos, buy from my Bricklink store. I can confidently say, this really is like the greatest job on the planet. I wish I was a little bit better at it. I'm not gonna say I'm perfect, and I'm far from it, but for what it's worth, I appreciate you guys a whole bunch, and I'm very confident to be able to say, that everything involving Lego, I can come down here in my basement and stay in my house and just do Lego stuff all day and get paid for it. I think, realistically, for what it's worth, again, I make a decent amount of money now. I'm probably spending a little too much. Also, I'm kind of in that mindset of, look, I still have to save for a house, save up some money for other stuff in adulthood life coming up here soon. But for what it's worth, I think it's all going to work out. And hopefully, 5 years from now, kind of when it, say adulthood really, gets more seriously then. I'm 21 years old now. I'm turning 22 in December. So again, by the time I'm 24, 25, I would really want to be able to confidently say, hey, look, all this worked out, and I hope I can tell you guys then. So yeah, thanks for the question, and thanks for the support. Next up, guys, we have Squidman, and he says, I've seen all your different colored tumblers on your Instagram. Did you make those yourself, or did you buy them from someone? So no, so actually, every single Batman tumbler I own was made from the upside down brick over on Instagram. So basically, this all originated from me asking him if he could do a recolor of the UCS tumbler into a Bane tumbler style. I'll throw up a picture on that. That is definitely probably my favorite thing in my Lego collection as a whole. I love that thing to death. He did such a great job on it. Cost me about $600 to make, though, not including what I paid him to actually commission it. We have sold a few instructions separately, just for other people to try to build it. I think we've sold like 4 of those, and we split that money 50-50. But in my opinion, honestly, I would like to keep that Bane tumbler pretty much 100% unique and not have anyone else be able to build it. So I'm purposely not trying to really sell any of those. You get what I'm saying? But he also made a whole bunch of other ones. I'll throw up the picture on the screen. Basically, every other tumbler that Lego has ever made, he did a recolor of the other color, black or tan. And then also at the moment, a new project that I'm starting. He actually made these quite a few months ago, but I've not really had the money or the time to, actually make them yet. But we're also making a Harley Quinn, like a Scarecrow, a Mr. Freeze, the Riddler, Killer Croc, like all those types of tumblers in the new $40 play scale tumbler size. So all those will probably be like, maybe at Brickworld next year. I'll probably try to have those done for Brickworld Chicago. But yeah, everything, everything tumbler wise he's done. I literally maybe told him 1 or 2 things of like advice on the UCS tumbler, but no, other than that, 99% of it is literally all him. So shout out to him. It is paid work, so I appreciate him, and he's done a really great job. So if you guys need any, commission work for realistically anything, he's done some Star Wars stuff for me, some superhero stuff. Definitely go check him out. He's a great guy. He gets stuff done on time, and great prices too. So I appreciate you, man. The next up, we have Finn SGE. He says, good vid lad, thank you so much. He says, do you like the Maze Runner trilogy? So, very funny enough you asked this question, because I think out of every movie trilogy ever, this one is probably the most sentimental to me. Maybe aside for like the prequel trilogy for Star Wars, but of kind of like obscure movies, I will really say I love the trilogy. I really do. And for what it's worth, very special movies in my heart. I watched the first and the second one back in early 2018. I was able to see the third one in theaters with someone, you guys probably know who I'm talking about, but someone that was in my life back then. And overall, just that whole experience, those three movies, kind of where it projected me in life, at the moment, really meant a lot to me. Seeing the third one in theaters was really fun, especially after just watching the first two. So yeah, to answer that question, yeah, I love that trilogy, and I love all those movies individually, and very underrated. I recommend it to anyone that's not seen them yet. Alright guys, and that officially concludes every question for this video. I think I answered quite a few of them. This is probably a pretty long one. But yeah, I wanted to make this one longer since last week's was pretty short. And nonetheless, I apologize for no uploads for the past 2 days. Really kind of just doing some family stuff yesterday. And another thing though, I've had quite a lot of criticism, and I've even realized it more so myself in the past like 2 or 3 weeks, of a lot of my my speech habits and my videos are getting really redundant, really the same. And I see that when I edit them. Believe me, like I really do. That's why a lot of my raw footage is truthfully like double what the length of it is, because I realize throughout when I'm filming, like, hey look, I've literally said this word 9 times. Like, let's try to like reiterate that sentence and start from scratch. So for what it's worth, these next 2 videos, I'm really sitting here trying to just think before I speak. I can really tell though, it's pretty ironic though, as I've really taken a dip on my mental and my physical health. Like I'm at the highest weight I've ever been right now. That's no one's excuse but my own, and no one's problem but my own. But nonetheless, I really feel like it's really clear to me right now that how kind of just like fogged up my brain is, and kind of just like my cognitive focus is not really there compared to say how it was like a month ago. So definitely got to get that worked on and fixed up, because I agree. I mean, there's been some stuff in my life in the past couple weeks where I'm like, damn, like what am I doing? Like, is this actually happening to me, kind of thing? But nonetheless, I'm gonna try my best, guys. Hopefully this video turned out a little bit better, and it wasn't as like repetitive as some of the other ones, and hopefully tomorrow's video is also. But nonetheless, guys, that's all for this video. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Leave your questions down below for next week if you guys have one, and that's pretty much all, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for you guys later. Bye guys, and stay safe.